What up, Rod? I don't know, actually. Um, it depends on what your test category average is. So the only way to really know how much it's going to affect your grade is what your current grade is in the test category, not necessarily your overall grade. So here, like, just to give you a relative kind of way to go about it. If you scored, let's say, so you got an 81%, okay, on the final test. If your if your average in the test category was already, let's say, an 81%, and you did the exact same, your grade would not change at all. If you did better, your grade would go up. If you did worse, your grade would go down. So it's relative to what your score is already in the test category. Now, as far as how much it'll bring it up and down, depends on how far away you are from your average currently. And that can be quite dramatic, also just depending on your current grade. So like I would say if you had and as far as that percentage, that's tough to calculate. I'm sure you could use like a grade calculator online to figure that out. I also want to research some GPUs tonight, actually. Like, what are we talking about here? We're looking at, like, what if we just go best GPUs 2020? I bet it's that one, right? Whatever that one is. Zenda, I have not played Cyberpunk yet. That might be my since my camping trip got canceled during Christmas or the holiday break. My camping trip, I was going to go to Joshua Tree to camp a little bit, got canceled because state parks and national parks are closing due to the uptick in COVID cases, obviously. So that got canceled. So now I'm like, well, maybe I'll just play Cyberpunk for a week straight. Yeah, it might be fun. Are you sure, Rod? Are you sure you don't think I could run Cyberpunk? So are you saying instead of $60 for Cyberpunk, I'm gonna have to spend like $800 on top of that to get a new GPU? It's poorly optimized? That's what I heard, actually. But if you look at like what do they say the requirements are? Okay, let's take a look at this. That's as big as you can make it. I can barely read that. Wait, what? As I zoom in, there we go. All right, minimum recommended high ultra. Okay, so minimum 1080p. What's the graphics card? GTX, dude, GTX 780. I've got a 970. I'm in on the minimum. Now, recommended, yeah, I fall short. Yes, I can run the Witcher 3. Totally fine. And what's up, Ahana? Yeah, I'm gonna do we'll watch the winter concert here. It hasn't started yet. It's supposed to start at 7. Alexa, you have a 1060 and it's still chugging? But what do you have? What are the rest of your specs around that 1060. Because like I've been playing most games pretty fine. Now I will say this, the one thing I did try to play Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and that seemed okay. It seemed fine. And that didn't feel very well optimized. i5. See, I have an i7 8700K. So we'll see about that. What's up, Arya? How are you? And Nathan, I see you in here too. The usual suspects. I feel like Nathan, Arya, and Ahana, you are the standard bio crew in here. Appreciate you. Have I tried Valorant? Yes, I have. Valorant's fine. So it looks like... So Lexi, it looks like you've got like... You have the i5 6600K. So your CPU is probably your limiting issue, your limiting factor for sure. My CPU is like is the unsung hero of my computer right now. My CPU is like carrying the rest of my computer. So I'm gonna like, I mean, I think right now what's happening is my CPU is carrying my graphics card big time. So what if we, let's see, what do we got here? What's the price tag that we're looking at for some of these top of the line GPUs nowadays? So what does Tom's Hardware say? Good old Tom and his lists. Best graphics card for gaming 2020. GeForce RTX 3080. What does this cost? What's the price tag on this? Jeez, $700. That's basically like that's like a PS5 right there. I appreciate the feedback, you guys. I hope they're helpful. I don't know. Sometimes I can't tell if it's helpful to do office hour streams. I think when I think about them, part of me is like, well, I would probably just be playing Minecraft or some other game anyway during my downtime. So it's really no skin off my back just to stream while I'm playing. So in a way, it's like a, even if it doesn't help that much or not that many people find it helpful, it's really not really costing me anything in the end. Actually, that's not true. It did cost me. It cost me however much an Intel i7 CPU cost, because I had to upgrade my CPU just to stream. But it needed to be upgraded anyway, so. New Light Destiny 2. I played Destiny 2 already. But is New Light like the new version, like the expansion, or like a reconfiguration? Let's see. So okay, this looks like it's the top of the line one. And part of me is always like, well, why would I not buy the top of the line? It'll just last me longer. But then I remember back to when I bought my GTX 970 and I was like, that wasn't the top of the line. That was close, but it wasn't at the time. Yikes, 15 FPS? That's terrible. Where's the way? I'm looking at the MontaVista site here. I'm looking at MontaVista's YouTube site. I don't see it. Oh, here it is. We'll begin shortly. Why don't we do this? I'll put this over here and we'll pop this out. Once it starts playing, I'll pop it out and have it on my screen too. Yeah, I mean, as far back as, as far back as when I was a kid, like I knew that PCs were far superior to consoles. Now, consoles are fun. Like they definitely have something going for them in the sense that they're more casual. Oftentimes they're easier entry, right? It's just sort of like you don't have to worry about like configurations and installing things, and they're just sort of like easy to go. So I get it. I get their appeal. But if you're really trying to like have a legit time, PC for sure. All right, let's do this. Window capture. Looks like the concert is about to start. So let's put this over here. I'm curious how they're going to do the winter concert this year. Let's go ahead and turn down our Minecraft volume. Music volume all the way down. And we'll turn up the volume maybe. How does the volume of the concert sound compared to my voice? Just do a little sound check on it. Too loud, too quiet. Sounds okay on my end. So Alexa, you go mid-range GPU. All right. Well, I mean, it needs to be a big upgrade compared to what I have, like to justify. Does anyone know a better site than Tom's Hardware to compare current GPUs? Okay, so it's a 3080. 1070 Ti. Where's that on Tom's list?
Good evening and welcome to our winter concert. My name is John Gilchrist and I'm the instrumental music director here at Monte Vista High School.
I'm Amy Young. I am the vocal director here at Monte Vista.
Sound check. How's that? How's the video sound? I'll bump it up if it's too quiet.
And instrumental ensembles.
The theme that we've chosen for this concert tonight is technology and the way that it enables us to find music when we are separated miles apart. Each group that you hear tonight will be performing one piece that incorporates electronic sounds, as well as a combined piece to close out the concert.
We have worked with a group of music students from each ensemble to form a...
Just keep letting me know if it needs to be louder or quieter. It's hard for me to tell. I don't know what it sounds like on your end.
Opportunities in the program moving forward. We are very excited to introduce our ensemble and class reps this evening, and they will be introducing each piece on the concert.
If you would like to support our program, you may donate to the Monte Vista Music Boosters using the link below. One of our generous Monte Vista music families has offered to kindly match all donation proceeds dollar for dollar up to $5,000. Any amount that you choose to donate is an investment in the future of the music program. So please donate and support the Monte Vista music program.
We have so enjoyed working on this music for the last several weeks, and these students continue to rise to the challenges that we are facing in virtual learning with great musicianship. And we really just want to take a second and thank each of you students for all of your hard work in preparing this music. And we also would love to thank the families who are so supportive of your students' musical journeys. Thank you again for tuning in. And without further ado, please enjoy our winter concert.
Hi, my name is Anura Kodke, and I am the Monte Vista choir representative this year. Being online this semester, we've had a lot more time to focus on learning music theory, and we've even had the opportunity of learning how to interpret IPA, or phonetic syllables that are used in choral music. Our next song was originally performed by Delta Ray, arranged by Justin Havard for SATB choirs. It was performed by the Monte Vista Combined Choirs for the FUHSD Interdistrict Concert last month. Having said that, we are proud to present Dance in the Graveyards.
When I die, I don't wanna rest in peace. I wanna dance in joy. I wanna dance in the graveyard, the graveyard. And when I'm alive, I don't wanna be alone, mourning the ones who came before. I wanna dance with them some more. Let's dance in the graveyard. Gloria,
Pretty sure it's live.
the name we kept on calling you, and waiting for change.
It says it's live.
But I belong to all of your mysteries.
Oh wait, actually I don't know.
All of us meant for the
Oh, it's pre-recorded?
fight.
Okay.
Keep
Shoot.
rising up
That's my bad.
and walking
I actually,
miles when we
then I was wrong. I made the link, I posted the link on the school website saying it was live.
When I die, I don't wanna rest in peace. I wanna dance in joy. I wanna dance in the graveyards, and while I'm alive, I don't wanna be alone, mourning the ones who came before. I wanna dance with them some more. Let's dance in the graveyard.
Yeah, I guess you couldn't have that many people on screen for a Zoom.
Let's dance
And
in
Zoom
the
doesn't look like that.
graveyard. Oh my life, when I'm gone, I will lift you up. The air you love, when you reach for me, dance in the darkness.
It is good editing.
walk beyond our daughters and sons, and they will carry on. Like when we were young, and we will stand aside and breathe in the new life. 'Cause when I die, I don't wanna rest in peace. I wanna dance in joy. I wanna dance in the graveyard, the graveyard.
Alexa, we still don't know yet.
I don't wanna be alone, mourning the ones who came before. I wanna dance with them someone. Let's dance in the graveyard. Let's dance in the graveyard.
You guys want to see the YouTube chat? For the concert?
Hi, my name is Anika Mishra and I'm the class representative for Esperanza. This semester we've learned a lot about the different music styles and quite a bit about music theory. One of my favorite memories was when we did a vocal boot camp with many different exercises, which really helped me improve my breath support. Another one of my favorite memories was definitely playing Among Us with the alto section after we had just finished recording a song, because despite losing every single game, which I'm totally not salty about, it really helped create some sort of personal connection within our section, which is something that I personally think is lacking during remote learning. Other than bonding as a class, we have been learning many different songs during the semester, one of which is my favorite, and it is called Winter Song. Winter Song was originally written and performed by Sarah Bareilles and Ingrid Michaelson in 2008 and was featured in the album Holiday Songs, presented by the Hotel Cafe, which was a compilation of holiday songs by female artists. It was arranged for treble choir by Mac Huff. This piece was actually a distant collaboration, and the two songwriters passed digital files back and forth to create this piece. They were born a day apart in early December and wrote Winter Song as a tribute to friendship, even when it's from a distance. We hope you enjoy it.
Wow, that's a nice touch in the editing there. Yeah, fall 2021 should definitely be in person. No doubt. Because the vaccine should be out by spring. So.
They say that things just cannot grow beneath the winter snow, or so I have been told. They say we're very far, just like a distant star. I simply cannot hold. Is love alive? Is love alive? Is love alive? This is my winter song. This January felt so wrong. 'Cause you're not where you belong. Inside my arms. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. I still believe in summer days. The seasons always change, and life will
Yeah, it's crazy. I would never expect it to lose an entire year.
and send it out tonight so we can start over. Is love alive? Is love alive? Is love alive? This is my winter song. This January felt so wrong. 'Cause you're not where you belong. Inside my arms. Is love alive? Is love alive? Is love alive? Is love
Hi everyone, my name is Rana Devlani, and I'm the representative for Monte Vista's Variations. Since we are online this year, it's really hard to get to know everyone. So to counter that, we've implemented this new system called Friday Run Day Fun Day, where every Friday we show off our talents to the class by posting on this app called Flipgrid. Everyone's able to comment on each other's posts and get to know each other a little bit more. This helped us form a community in the class, even when there isn't a direct community in person.
Hello, my name is Maranch Das, and I'm the class representative for Monte Vista's tenor bass choir, Low Key. This semester has been amazing, and I'm proud to introduce our piece in conjunction with the tenors and basses and variations, Victimae Pascali Laudes. This piece is an arrangement by Michael Engelhardt, based on a classical Latin chant from the 11th century. Engelhardt blends the mysterious moods of Gregorian chant with some of the electronic elements present in modern music, creating a fusion piece that has a character all of its own.
Victime, 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 victime.
sound, huh? Got probably too much going on my screen for you guys. I'm sorry.
Vittime Pascali Laudes, Imole Christiani, ogni sveglia mi troves, Christus innocens Patri, reconciliabit peccatores. Moset vita duello, confisere mirando,
All right, I got a ton of sticks to start trading with these villagers for emeralds.
Ignobis Maria,
God, creepers. Oh, the editing is on point, dude. They didn't spare any sort of detail here. It's pretty good. What are they saying, though? I don't even know. Is this in another language? Oh no, don't do it.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Johnson and I'm a sophomore this year.
Hi, I'm Liana Corsani, also a sophomore.
Oh no, my pen.
And we're the representatives this year for the Bella Voce Choir.
I really enjoyed
My sheep
choir
got
this
out.
year because of all the ways we found to stay connected and bond virtually, whether it be through our games or even the music itself.
Dude, what is happening?
We've learned so much this year and I really enjoyed working with Miss Young to further my knowledge on choral music.
Next, we're going to introduce our last piece to you, performed by Bella Voce as well as the sopranos and altos from the Variations Choir.
Our first piece is All I Want for Christmas Is You, and the words and music are by Mariah Carey and Walter Afanasieff, and this piece is arranged by Roger Emerson. Thank you.
Oh, they can't get out, okay. Classic song, All I Want for Christmas Is You. Very classic.
I don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need. I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. I just want you for my own, more than you could ever know. Make my wish come true. All I want for Christmas is you.
Oh man, I gotta get my other sheet back.
Hang my stocking there upon the fireplace. Santa Claus will make me
This isn't even worth it. I'm just gonna sleep.
All I want for Christmas is you. Jingle and lights are shining so brightly everywhere. Jingle and the children laughter fills the air. And everyone is singing. I hear those sleigh bells ringing. Santa, won't you bring me the one I really need? I don't want a lot for Christmas. This is all I'm asking for. I just want to see my baby standing right outside my door. I just want you for my own, more than you could ever know. Make my wish come true. All I want for Christmas, all I need for Christmas, all I want for Christmas is you.
Nice, very nice. I miss the.
Hello, my name is Catherine Lee. I play percussion and I'm the class rep for concert band. Tonight, our ensemble is very happy to present you a Technoblade by Benjamin Dean Taylor. As a percussionist, this piece makes me very excited as, in this piece, everyone in the ensemble gets to become a percussionist. This piece is inspired by knife throwing, so during the performance, our players will be tapping and scraping rhythms on their music stands or other objects to imitate the sounds of knives. Of course, real knives would have made the best knife throwing sounds, but we aren't exactly qualified to be throwing knives around. But we will be playing along to a track of electronic dance music that includes the sounds of the composer throwing and even making his own knives. Many of our members have played in concerts before, but for several, this is their first concert. While their levels of playing may not be at those of the more experienced players just yet, they have been making great efforts to get there, so a round of applause for them. All of us, new and experienced alike, have worked and practiced hard to bring this performance to you tonight. So, please enjoy Technoblade by Benjamin Dean Taylor, performed by the Monta Vista Concert Band.
Technoblade. What I was saying, I didn't want to interrupt her. Before quarantine, like before when we were teaching in class, the choir would always come and sing to the staff, Monta Vista staff, during our like holiday staff lunch. They would come and sing. And I always liked that. It was always fun. So I'm glad they did this year so we could still get a taste of it. This is some little bit dark and foreboding stuff. I like it. I lost the button. Man, I gotta make another button.
Hello everyone, my name is Shravan Suresh. I play the violin and I am the class rep for string orchestra. Today we will be performing a piece called Earth Renaissance by Benjamin Dean Taylor. This 5-minute song allows us to invite unity and to connect with the earth and those around us. The instrumental parts combined with the recorded soundscape form a calm, peaceful, and minimalist groove. This piece is a reminder to slow down, take a deep breath, and take a moment to listen to the earth and the people around you. Thank you, and without further ado, Earth Renaissance by Benjamin Dean Taylor, performed by Monte Vista String Orchestra.
I'm gonna trade with him right now. I'm just trying to I gotta get buttons to open the door. Wait, he's holding an emerald? Why is he giving me that emerald? No. So when it says that, what does that mean? Villagers restock up to 2 times per day. Oh, Adrian, I can just break and break. Oh, see, that's what I was trying to look up. Like if there was a like a cheat way to do that. Thanks for the advice. But like, if I break the block and then reassign him, won't it reset like Adrian said? So even if I...
Hello everyone, this is Angelica. I play the baritone sax and I am the class rep for this year's symphonic band. Today we will be presenting Paper Cut by Alex Shapiro. It's a movie-esque piece with a unique blend of
But if I get
and texture through the use of traditional concert band instruments and used papers. So enjoy.
What if I make this other villager a Fletcher and have two? And then when I'm ready... I can just convert him back to a librarian to get the trade, right? Or to get the books that I'm looking for? Can villagers use buttons? If I put a button here, will they use it to get in and out? Doesn't look like it. Cool. Farmers are also a good way of getting emeralds if you have melon, pumpkin farm, a really big carrot, potato, wheat farm. Ah, I see. Yeah, because I need to farm emeralds better right now if I'm gonna get these enchants from this guy. Alright. I got beet seeds. I got melon seeds. That's it. Ahana, I feel like you're like the person in the chat that's always the most environmentally conscious. You're always like, gotta relax, like don't cut the trees down, don't factory farm. I appreciate that. And we need somebody like that. There's not that many people like that out there. Well, where do we get melon and carrot? I can go check out the village. Wait, do I need an arrow in my inventory to shoot a bow with infinity? Do I need at least one arrow? Is that why it's not shooting? Why is my shift key not working anymore?
My name is Dylan Huang and I play the violin.
What did I do?
I'm the class representative for our wonderful chamber orchestra here at NP. Our group has been working on Press by Vince Oliver since October, and we are thrilled to perform it for all of you today. The idea behind Press encompasses both modern music with the wonders of technology.
What is going on
Throughout
with
the
my...
piece, not only will you experience a thrilling ride of intense, pressed music, but also a perfect blend of strings and technological effects. At the same time, Press is an unquestionably unique portrayal of a pressed look. Throughout our performance, every note value is perfectly timed and arranged with accordance to the rest of the ensemble. Enough of my rambling. Here and now, Monta Vista's very own chamber orchestra presents to you Press by Vince Oliver, conducted by the one and only Mr. John Gilchrist.
Melon seeds. Hey, Zenda. Okay. Oh, there we go. Beetroot. Where was the timpani coming from in that sound, in that song? I didn't hear any drums. I didn't see any drums, but I heard them. Like a little cymbal, a little hi-hat. Where's all the percussion coming from in this? All I see is strings, violin. Sorry, I don't mean to disappoint you, Zenda, but sometimes people have a dark side, and when you find out about it, it changes the way you see them. But it's who I am, and so I can't deny it. Okay, I think I got everything I can. It was unfortunately it gives me 3 melon seeds. Oh, I lost my Minecraft. extremely how do I say I got plenty of wheat, Adrian. I'm good on wheat though. About to like, I feel like I'm in a horror movie, but like a chaotic horror movie. Psychological thriller, so to speak.
Good night, and good luck.
Wow, that was something. I liked it. I need arrows. Also, I just need to sleep. I'm not gonna deal with
Hey
this.
guys, my name is Cheryl and I play the flute. I'm the class rep for Wind Ensemble. Today we'll be playing a piece called Press Play by Vince Oliver. This piece was supposed to be written as a band counterpart for Press, which the chamber orchestra just performed. However, Vince Oliver decided to take it another direction and create the piece from scratch. The program notes simply state, dance immediately, and the rest is up to the audience to interpret. Press Play embodies our concert's theme and incorporates a variety of technological sounds.
She's got a sweet
along with
gaming chair, huh?
narration.
What is that? I gotta
Now,
get me a chair.
Enough of the chit chat. Let's press play.
This is pretty nice. Secret gamer, the gamer side is revealed.
Right feet side by side as they swing around, taking short, quick steps.
So I don't know, gamer chairs. What is that? What is that an investment that's even worth it? Because some of those things are probably really pricey. Like I've always felt like a gaming chair felt a little bit extra to me. Like I just have like a regular, simplistic office chair. Okay, melon seeds. I don't need beetroot right
Let's
now.
put these steps together to music. Hurry up, kids, and don't be slow. One more change and home you go. Ladies curtsy. Gentlemen bow.
For the clout. I've never been a clout person. For some reason, it's just never appealed. Like I don't really care enough about that stuff. But if they help your back and they're comfortable, it might be worth it.
So now, since left hands are yours, it's natural to extend
kind of build this out a little bit so I can actually fit a little garden here. What's up, Justin? Yeah, you'd be surprised what like a couple of lights can actually do to the vibe of a room. It makes it so much more cozy. I never particularly cared too much until I started spending like my entire day in my room. Now that we're doing remote learning, and I'm gonna just sit here and teach. So it's nice. But I appreciate your comment, man. All right, let's make a little melon patch. So if I make a melon patch, will I be able to slowly but surely increase the melon seeds I get? Like, so for every melon I grow, actually, how the heck do you even make a melon patch? Let's look at this. All right, melon. A view of 2 equally efficient melon farms. Oh, you have to give it an extra space. Okay, so you go row of seeds, 2 spaces. Wait. What's going on here? What's this middle row? Wait. So this middle row is what? Like just like random wheat or something? Yeah, it looks like it. Just so because you can't put anything there anyway. Wait, actually, this does not look maximally efficient. Correct me if I'm wrong, but couldn't you put a melon seed here and have a melon grow on either end of this middle row, like at the very ends, and get 2 extra melons? Is there a reason why you couldn't do that? Based off what I'm seeing from these other rows. Okay, sure. It's a view of 2 equally efficient melon farms, but not maximally efficient melon farms. So let's maximize our efficiency here. So let's see. First of all, let's go back to that real quick.
If you enjoyed the concert, you can show your support by donating to the Monte Vista Music Boosters using the link below. As a reminder, one of our Monte Vista Music families is offering to match all donations made up to $5,000. So please consider donating.
Just another 9x9.
For our final piece, we will be hearing the combined forces of band, orchestra, and choir as they perform a holiday classic, Sleigh Ride.
Very nice.
We truly appreciate you taking the time this evening to support music in our schools. Happy holidays, and we hope you enjoy Sleigh Ride.
Sleigh Ride. This is a classic song. I feel like I need to get in my cart right now. But sometimes farming efficiency overrides festivities, unfortunately. So we gotta do a 9x9. Let's just figure this out, actually. I might need to expand this area. So we'll go... dirt. So how do you think they edited this? They just have everyone like they probably had everyone record themselves doing their part and then sent in the video, and then someone just stitched it all together. Or actually, you know what this looks like? This looks like multiple Zoom calls, screen recorded Zoom calls. It looks like they did like 6 people per Zoom call, or 6 to 8 people per Zoom call, which is probably easier to edit than doing every individual records their own thing. They do like 5 people per Zoom.
Giddy up, let's go. Let's look at the show. We're riding in a wonderland of snow.
Looks like a magic eye. You guys ever do those magic eyes? That's what that looked like to me for a second.
We're gliding along with the song of the fairyland. Chicks are nice and rosy when people are happy. So we'll come together to words we'll never repeat.
Is that it? That was really good. That was enjoyable. Felt short. Could have been longer. But probably was a lot of editing. It was not so easy. Yeah, I mean, I imagine the editor was like, "Can we not do it like more than an hour?" Who edited it, by the way? I'm assuming. Ah, Mr. G, he edited it? Got some editing skills on top of his music skills, orchestral skills. What would you call the skills of that? Conducting skills? All right, so we got, this needs to go out 2 more. Slaved away for hours on end, I imagine. Editing, so here's the thing. Editing is one of those things that if you get really good at editing and you can use like After Effects, like editing can make or break something like tremendously. But it is absolutely tedious, painstaking work. So when I see like really well edited stuff, my appreciation is really high. I feel like editing is one of those things that you don't fully appreciate until you've actually tried to edit something. Wait, did I do that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I actually have no idea what just came on. This is not Monta Vista. This is something completely different. This looks like maybe it just maybe randomly started streaming something else. This looks like another performance, another live performance. What are they doing? What's up, Audrey? I have played League. And I mean, it seems it's fun. Like, it is fun. I'll say that. It's fun. It's fun. It just seems like it would require a lot, and it's not as chill as like a game I normally would like to play. I learned that like I do have like certain games that I don't play because I get too stressed when I play them, and I think League is part of that. Part of that bundle. Which is kind of why I like Minecraft, to be honest. It's very chill. Super chill. But everyone always asks me if I play League. That must be the most popular game that there is, right? Did it win something? It won the video game awards or something recently, like the other day, yesterday or something like that. Put the fence here. Square it up and pop it down. Let's go dig the hole in the center here. Oh shoot, I gotta actually fill this now. Should I get into League? Should I start playing League when I get bored with Minecraft? 1, 2, 3, 4. What's up, Ashi? The final is going to be the optional final. Is essentially going to be 45. I made it 45 multiple choice questions. And it's going to be sections. Let me think. Yeah, I'll probably break it into like 3 sections. Maybe like 1 section per unit. But that wouldn't be quite even because the last unit is actually much smaller than the previous 2. Well, I actually don't even have enough melon seeds to do an efficient farm here anyway, so I guess I'll just start it simple at first. So what we need is, where's that here? So what do we need? We need 2 spaces, right, on either side. So you do a row. Okay, that's easy. Oops, I should get rid of this. Put this back up. So I've only got 4 seeds, so I'll just do 2 and 2. Yeah, we'll just go like. Does it need some sort of scaffolding to grow, or will it just grow in the space there? Like, Wait, what? Wow, this guy's got like texture packs, huh? Yep, every assignment is in there. So your grades are officially what they are. So if you don't take the final, that is basically your grade for the semester. With two exceptions, right? One is if you take the final, that'll change your grade. And two, if you do a retake for the genetics exam sometime next week, that could also change your grade. So you have like two ways to change your grade. One is the final, and then the other is a retake. Maximum yield 47. Oh, but the growth time is 24? Efficiency 29. Efficiency. Wait, I don't get this one. So they're saying that, okay, yield, the amount you get versus growth time. The effective growth rate is 18.1. So you'd want to maximize your effective growth rate technically. So how does this one have higher efficiency, lower efficiency, but higher effective growth rate than this one? Do these need to have... I'm just going to do that just in case they need space to... I don't even know which way they're going to grow. Like, how does it decide which side... Alright, let's look this up. Melon farm tutorial. Oh, these are just all about automatic farms. Good morning, Lunar Bird. Let's watch this.
Our series.
I want to keep ourselves updated here on what's going on with our COVID vaccine sitch.
Vaccinating America focuses on what you need to know as the FDA Advisory Committee considers the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. Canada approved the vaccine yesterday, but there are some potential side effects that people should be aware of. We're going to get to that. First, I want to let you know that 2 of the first people to receive the Pfizer vaccine in the UK experienced adverse events after the injection. Now, you also need to know that both patients had a history of allergic reactions, and both of them have recovered.
They had history of allergic reactions, so
the vaccine rollout. Dr. LaPook,
they could just be sensitive individuals.
Let's start there in the UK. We hear that there were 2 significant adverse events in the initial rollout. What does that tell us here in the U.S. about what to expect?
Good morning, Tony. Well, you know, we don't have a really
good morning.
ton of information about it.
CBS this morning.
Workers,
That's what the good morning's all about.
Such severe history of allergies that they carried EpiPens with them. And shortly after getting the vaccine, they developed a severe reaction, and they fortunately were able to give themselves the EpiPen and got better. You know, that type of reaction tends to be very rare. Of course, our regulator's going to be wanting to look at it very closely. I spoke to Tony
you were such a
Fauci
crazy
about it
trader.
last night. He said, you can bet that today that's going to be in the discussions in the EUA application that the FDA is going to be having. But the more common reactions are much, much milder.
And what are those common reactions? What should people be prepared for as we start getting injections as soon as Saturday?
Wow.
Well, there are reactions
as soon as
that
Saturday.
show
That's crazy.
that the
People are
vaccine
getting
is actually working, that it's stimulating your immune system. So redness at the injection site, pain, swelling, you may have some fever or headaches, some muscle
CBS
aches,
in the morning. Watch
fatigue,
your language.
Things like that. They tend to be transient. They go away in a couple of days, and then off you go. It's actually a sign that says, okay, my immune system saw something, it reacted to it, and hopefully it's the beginning of me being protected.
Yeah. As we talk about side effects, I don't want people to lose sight of the main effect, which is an increasingly well-described protection against the coronavirus itself. On that subject, I know you've dug into the
Mr.
data
Chang?
that Pfizer provided to the FDA. What stood out to you?
It was nothing, right? It was pretty good data.
What stood out to me was how much information there was and the detail that was there. 53 pages from the FDA alone, and then much more than that from Pfizer. I looked at every word of it. And I got to tell you, Tony, I would be flabbergasted if this emergency use authorization is not approved today. I really would. I think that it's with about a 95% efficacy rate at a time when there's a raging pandemic, and when we heard about the statistics about what's going on across the country, if you look at a map, it's like it's on fire. And so far, the safety profile looks good. I mean, less than 1%, like 0.63% of reactive side effects in the vaccine group versus 0.51 in the placebo group, so a little bit more. And they're going to be looking over the years and over the months to see what happens, not when 44,000 people take the Pfizer vaccine, but when millions of people take it.
So let's talk about those millions of people. What is the magic number that we're paying attention to? How many people need to get vaccinated before we can feel like, okay, we're going to get past this?
So we're hearing about this herd immunity number that fluctuates depending upon how you look at it. So it could be anywhere from, say, 70 to 80, 85% of people needing to be protected. Now, how do you get there?
That's a crazy number.
So for one thing,
there's already a lot of people are protected because they already had it.
Unfortunately, that's happening. So we're having some herd immunity happening because it's such a huge outbreak in the country right now. On top of that, you have the vaccine 95% effective, and we're hearing from Moncef Slaoui yesterday. He told me that by mid-end of March we should have 100 million people vaccinated. And then, but that's not going to get you to the 70, 75, 80% number.
Wait, by mid-March, hold on. He said by mid-March 100 million people will be vaccinated? Did I hear that right?
You have natural immunity. Unfortunately, that's happening. So we're having some herd immunity happening because it's such a huge outbreak in the country right now. On top of that, you have the vaccine 95% effective, and we're hearing from Moncef Slaoui yesterday. He told me that by mid-end of March we should have 100 million people vaccinated.
That's crazy. That's fast.
That's not going to get you to the 70, 75, 80% number, especially if it turns out that 40% of America is not going to be taking the vaccine because they're afraid right now. So we have a lot of education to do. And the bottom line here is we still need to be wearing.
No, Ahana, I appreciate you looking out for me on this one, but I think usually anything that is news and especially related to COVID should not be flagged because it's sort of public information.
Well, that education campaign telling people what to expect.
It's not like I don't think it would be classified as like somebody's intellectual property or something like that. I think it falls under more of like a Creative Commons license. Yeah, fair use or not? Yeah, Creative Commons would be different, but fair use.
He's become an accidental icon of the conservative movement. Should the left be afraid?
Get out of here. Should the left? Should the right? Well, that's good news. So it looks like by mid-March, yeah, we're definitely going to be in school, in remote learning for the rest of second semester. I bet it. Anyone want to put a bet on that? I'm not a gambling man, but political propaganda, I can't deal with it. I can't with it. It's too much. $0.01. All right, I'll take you up on that. So if we come back on campus by the end of second semester, I owe you 1 cent. Got it. Okay, so I got 45. Let's go see if we can get a good enchant. Oh, 0.1 cent. How do I even give that to you? Do you take Bitcoin? You take fractions of Bitcoin, like fractions of Bitcoin? Because like what 1 Bitcoin is worth what right now? What's the price of Bitcoin right now? What's Bitcoin price? $18,000. Dang, whoa, Bitcoin went way back up. Holy smokes. Dude, Bitcoin is insane. So I would owe you 1 Bitcoin into what? $0.1. Oh no, dollar. So wait. $0.1 is 10 cents. So $0.01. So $0.01. No, that's 1 cent. So you said 0.1. So I owe you 5.5 times 10 to the negative 8th Bitcoin. Got it. Just record that number. 5.5 times 10 to the negative 8th Bitcoin. That's how much is on the line here. All right, let's see what we can get out of this guy. Yeah, exactly, Adrian. That's huge. I'm just trying to get mending. That's all I'm trying to get right now. That's annoying. Okay, Ahana, you'll hold me to it. Don't make me back out of this 5 times 10 to the negative 8th Bitcoin deal. Let's see. Well, I guess I can't sleep here, huh? So I guess I'll just go take a nap. Wait, what? Oh, this thing. This is what's happening. Somehow monsters are coming up from my mining area, which is actually frustrating. Do I think we'll have still have graduation? Yeah, you'll definitely have graduation, but it will probably be a virtual graduation like it was last year, which was, to be honest, like pretty bad. Pretty rough. Like all it was literally a live stream of like so what it was last year was a live stream of scrolling pictures with it wasn't even a real person reading the names. It was like like an AI kind of thing. It was like Microsoft. It wasn't like as bad as like Microsoft Sam. It wasn't like that, but it was like pretty good. Actually, it might have been a real person that I don't know what it was, but it was just scrolling pictures of people with their names and their names being read essentially by a computer generated like speech bot. And there was live chat, so people were in the chat, but yeah, it was pretty rough. So yes, I think we'll have graduation, but like I said, I don't think it'll be in person. Okay, ready? Let's see if we can get this librarian to give us what we want. We want mending, right? Wait, can any level Bane of arthropods, can any level librarian teach mending? Move out. Yeah, okay. Good. Why do you guys have to stand on the thing I'm trying to break down? Fortune 2. Okay, I'm gonna put it over here then. Lure. Is it raining outside, Nathan? Do I play in this server with anyone else? Yeah. With a buddy of mine. He doesn't play too often though. So most of this work, I would say like 95% of the work is mine. Or like the stuff that's been done. Can't hear it. I think it's I think my double pane windows are too noise canceling. How long does this normally take? Like, is there are there any sort of like odds I can look up? What's up, Dylan? Come on now, let's look at this up. This is getting ridiculous. Probability for villager to have mending. The first type of enchantment is selected randomly. 1 in 30. All right, 1 in 30. Should be coming up pretty soon. I've done this close to 30 times. That's not how statistics work, but... One in 30. What percent? What is that percent? 1 in 30? That's... like 3%. Wow, I had to do the math. The problem with percentages is that like 3% is actually not that low, realistically. For like a drop, like, you know, like if you've ever played any like RPG or like anything like that that has like loot drops, like you like a 1% drop happens all the time. So it's really not that bad. Protection 4 is pretty good, but I already got all that. Depth Strider though, huh? Is that worth grabbing a book just to have, so I don't have to sit here and try and like 3% chance it again? Or is that just you think that's a waste of minerals or a waste of emeralds? This world is on basic or normal, I guess. I don't know, whatever it's not like hard mode or whatever. What does that mean, abuse villagers? What does abuse villagers mean? Like force them to do stuff? Since you can infect the villagers by having a zombie kill them, so they turn to zombie villagers and then cure them for a large discount. Oh, I see. That's pretty messed up. Unlucky right now. Wait, well they just wait, how come they can go to bed but I can't? Almost. Well, now there's monsters nearby. Is that because I have a hole in the roof? Because normally you can still sleep. Oh man, this is not taking it's taking longer than I thought. Yes, got it. All right. Okay. So I just want, all right, because I have to make a bunch of books for mending because you use them up each time. Okay. So mending, we'll just take that. Oh, I need a book. That's a steal? So the amount of emeralds it costs you is completely random as well? Let's grab a book here. Wait, do I have any books right now? Oh yeah, I've got books. 20 is pretty average. So I can get 2 books here, right? Because you let me think. So you use a book up, right? Whenever you use a book to enchant something, it disappears. So you got to make more to do for more items, right? So then we'll have to get, so unfortunately I'm going to have to just mine more minerals from this other guy. Okay. And then, oh, I don't have my sticks on me. Nice, just enough to get one more book. I don't know if I'm going to have enough levels to do what I want to do here, actually. I may have to end up going to grind a few levels. Wait, I totally forget how the heck this works. So enchanting, so you're just in a grindstone, right? Or in a anvil? With a book? Oh. 17. Wow, I'm gonna only be able to enchant one item right now. Pickaxe though, right? Like for sure pickaxe. That seems to be the reasonable one to enchant first with mending, because you use that the most. So I'll do that. That's a pretty stacked pickaxe now. Efficiency, unbreaking, fortune, and mending. Oh, here's one with Anthony Fauci. Let's watch this one. This is from. Oh, this is a live.
Hello
interview.
and welcome to Conversations with Dr. Bachner. Once again, it is Howard Bachner, editor-in-chief of JAMA, and I'm here with Anthony Fauci, Tony Fauci. I think at this point Tony needs no introduction, so welcome, Tony.
Good to be with you, Howard. Thank you for having me.
Why don't we get to the questions? I thought we'd bucket them. And I'd like to end with the vaccines. It's an extraordinary story, a positive story. But Tony, let's start with the struggle, the troubling numbers. When I interviewed you about a month before Thanksgiving, and I asked you, could you talk a little bit about Thanksgiving and Christmas? You said, I'd prefer not to even touch Christmas or the holidays because let's get through Thanksgiving. The numbers are frightening, Tony. 100,000 people hospitalized. More than 3,000 people in the last few days have died each day. How's this going to play out over the next 2 or 3 months, Tony?
Howard, I'm really concerned. I'm concerned because the numbers that we're looking at as of yesterday and today, as you mentioned correctly, are record-breaking. I mean, we have over 2,000 people who die each day. Yesterday, it was 3,000 people. We have... as you said, over 200. Yesterday was 241,000.
Yeah, I would take it.
New cases.
So I've been asked
we
this
have
before.
Over 100,000 hospitalizations, and we're approaching a totality of 300,000.
The way I always.
289.
I think my audio is too
as
high.
of last night, 289,000. We have not yet seen the full brunt of the travel and the family.
Is that audio too low for the video?
And friends over Thanksgiving. Likely that will peak in the beginning of next week.
Can you guys hear the video?
About 2 to 2.5 weeks following a particular event when people congregate or when you have people getting involved in situations that are high probability of transmission. That would mean that given that today is the 11th of December, next week you're halfway through, you're going to go right up until the beginning of the travel period of Christmas.
We'll go right there.
And we're going to do the whole thing over again.
Should be better.
We're going to have more people traveling. And instead of just having a weekend.
So yeah, I would take the vaccine. However, I will not. I'm not considered a healthcare worker, obviously, and I'm not technically. I don't think I'm considered an essential worker because we can teach from home. So I would not be in the first couple rounds of the vaccine. So I wouldn't have to worry about going like, ooh, I don't know if it's safe because no one's taken it yet.
That means that the recommendation.
So I definitely will take it when it's available for me as a position, as my position in the order of.
It's just good public.
Oh, nice. So they just grow off that side like
as
that.
much as you possibly can your travel. You must say that this may be the time that we're not going to gather with 15, 20, 25 people at a big.
I got to go to the Nether, huh?
Friends, as much.
I gotta gain levels here.
Essentially, that's part of the season that we've traditionally experienced and loved.
Is there a better way to farm experience in this game than to go to the Nether?
We're entering into a very, very difficult time of December, January, and into the heart of the winter. Although we're getting some relief.
That's true, but Lunabird, I've looked into
with vaccines.
I've done the research on what this Pfizer vaccine is.
Health impact for at least several months.
So this Pfizer one that's being released by BioNTech, then Pfizer's distributing this vaccine, but it's the BioNTech vaccine. It's an mRNA vaccine, right? So an mRNA vaccine is a newer kind of vaccine that is actually, from my research and from my understanding of how it works, pretty low risk, because what they're injecting into you is no virus particles at all. All it is a sequence of mRNA. If you've taken biology and you took protein synthesis, the unit in genetics, those of you that are in bio right now have not taken it. We'll start. That's kind of the first unit we get into when we come back in semester 2. But essentially, you have this sequence of mRNA that is the instructions for how to make a specific protein. It's called a spike protein that the virus has. So it's not even a virus particle. It's instructions for how to make the virus particle that is carried in the vaccine in these little like vesicle-like structures. It goes in, it gets injected into your body. Your cells take up that little bubble with the mRNA in it, and then your cells start producing that protein, which is then presented by the cells to your immune system. Your immune system recognizes that spike protein, mounts some antibodies in response to it, and then when you actually get infected, obviously now you have your immune system is all teed up and ready to go to take it out, and so it keeps you from getting sick. And so that it doesn't seem to me that there's like any real crazy negative downsides. And when we look at the clinical trials, the phase 3 data, the preliminary data that Pfizer put out, what we see is that it's 95% efficient, so which is good, or effective rather, and the adverse reactions are it's 2 to 4% in adverse reactions, but pretty much all of the adverse reactions are like a headache or like a little bit of fatigue for like a day, and that's absolutely normal with any vaccine anyway. So no, I'm actually not concerned. So even if I was in the first line of defense, or not defense, first line of takers, I would still take it. Like I'm pretty like, I'm a man of science myself, and it looks pretty legitimate to me. So I am not that worried. I'm kind of the opposite of an anti-vaxxer. I'm a pro-vaxxer, yeah, I don't see any reason not to. Based off the data, it's pretty thorough. We waded in. I did a 2-hour stream last Saturday looking into all the different potential vaccines and what mRNA vaccines were. So I put in some research. I feel confident. I'd take it. But yeah, I mean, you never know, right? It's still something crazy could happen. But the science seems pretty solid, and I always trust in the science. Is there a monopoly of the vaccine? No. So there's actually 5 vaccines being developed by 5 different companies right now. All are in phase 3 clinical trials. Some of them are saying, like there's 2 of them that are pretty much exactly the same style or technique of vaccine, and then there's the other 3 are all kind of slightly different. And so they all have different pros and cons. Does anyone have that link to that document that I used for notes? I should have it. I can link it in the chat for you, Lunar, if you want to look over the notes that I took. Just to give you a sense of. They all have different pros and cons. So it might be that the very first vaccine that gets released is this Pfizer mRNA one. However, it might be true that this Pfizer vaccine is just the first one to go to the most important people because it was the quickest to get passed for clinical trials. However, some of the other vaccines might be better used for later because they're cheaper to make, or they don't have to be stored at such cold temperatures. Ahana, I can't get links, unfortunately. I realized that. Sorry, I asked you guys if you could link it to me, but I just realized that links don't work in Google, in YouTube chat. It's frustrating. So I'll just find it. Here we go. The problem, Ahana, is you think you put it in the chat, but no one can see it. It looks like you put it in the chat from your perspective, but it actually doesn't show up. But mine should, because I am the master plan. I got the master key. Yeah, I don't like YouTube chat because of that. Okay, so let's look this up. So let's do this real quick.
It may have an impact of protecting individual people, but from a public health impact, it will likely be several months before we get the full positive impact of a vaccine. So it's in our hands now by mitigating with public health measures. And it's particularly challenging given the terribly historic numbers that we're seeing.
Tony, do you think, I've been trying to figure out how to convince people to mask, social distance, not travel, keep gatherings to very personal family members. Do you think religious leaders?
I'm going to try, Ahana. I'm trying to.
Coming up to the season when we talk about your
That's
family,
my goal.
your friends.
Once I beat the Ender Dragon, maybe I can
for
start
your
working on
neighbors.
playing a different game.
For me, that starts with healthcare workers. You know, we're just challenging them with more and more cases. Or I go into a store and sometimes see someone without a mask, and I think, you know, do they recognize that they're really unfair to the people in that store? Do you think it's time for religious leaders to step up and really say, this is what you must do? This is actually part of what our code of our religion is.
Thanks, Ahana. I appreciate it.
Yes, I think it's time for any group that has influence by nature of their position in the community should step up and try and help out to get people to appreciate the importance of the public health message. That could be religious leaders, that could be celebrity figures in entertainment, that could be sports figures, people who the community respects, who might say, well, if this person is doing it, well, then maybe I
get
can
in
do
there?
it. I mean, if you see a sports hero, or as you said correctly, Howard, you know, faith-based people, religious leaders who do that.
How do I
The
harvest
thing that
these? Just
impressed me the most
smash it?
the other evening when I was, you know, catching a 5-minute flash on the TV was an ad showing a nurse coming out of an ICU completely exhausted, you know, with a mask on, saying, please, you know, do something, wear a mask, don't crowd. I just came out of an ICU.
Wait, you don't get any seeds.
Where there were 25 patients in there that are dying. It was really a very powerful ad.
Oh, will this just keep regrowing?
So, Tony, I want to turn to the good news, and there's quite a few questions already. On April 10th, 2018, you wrote in JAMA with Barney Graham and John Mascola, two of your co-authors, Novel Vaccine Technologies. There's a quote, in summary, emerging viral diseases with pandemic potential are a perpetual challenge to global health. That was obviously the case. And you talked about novel platforms, one of which were DNA or mRNA nucleic acid vaccines. That was 2 years ago. In January, late December, January, we get to genetic code. And yesterday, there's a public hearing about an FDA potential EUA approval of a Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine. Had you ever imagined in your life the capacity of scientists to produce a vaccine in 10 months?
Well, the answer to that, Howard, is an absolute no. I mean, in my wild.
Oh, sorry, Ahana, you're still here. I thought you'd left. You said, oh no. You said, well, good luck. I thought that was your way of saying like you're off. So I didn't mean to do this in front of you. I know that you're sensitive to this.
When we wrote that article in JAMA,
I didn't realize you were still
and talking about the vaccine platform technologies, even then,
have I tried golden raisins? I have. I'm not a big fan of raisins in general or golden raisins. I'll be honest. They're not my favorite.
Even then, 2 years ago, I didn't imagine that we would go from sequence identification.
Yeah, I know, hon. I'm just messing with you.
Actually having a vaccine in somebody's arm, not a vaccine trial, not, you know, halfway through phase 3, but actually having the vaccine in somebody's arm in less than a year.
Are you a raisin
months, to be exact,
fan?
From January to the beginning of December.
I feel like for me, raisins
it
are.
It would have been inconceivable.
Take them or leave them.
To me, a year or 2 or 3 ago, to think that we were going
actually
to be
leave them.
successful.
It's not take or leave. It's leave. It's absolutely
There's
leave.
Great news about that. Now it's our challenge to convince people that that wasn't rushed in a reckless way, that it was an expression of the extraordinary scientific advances made with vaccine platform technology and the investment that was made that we've discussed on a previous podcast of the hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars putting up front to get vaccine doses made.
You know, what you like is what you like.
So that when the EUA is issued, you have vaccines that are ready the next day to go into somebody's arm. And that's where we are today.
Tony, I do want to congratulate the scientists at Pfizer and likely next week Moderna. But I want to go
Moderna's
through
going to come out next
the
week.
data that's been released publicly. I really want to comment that.
Look at Fauci staying
the FDA
hydrated.
Really was acted incredibly appropriately in taking its time doing the analysis. For me, the goal wasn't for the FDA to approve the EUA first. It was to approve it appropriately, and I think they've taken that to heart. So for all participants, the vaccine efficacy was reported as 95%. And, you know, we have a sophisticated listening group, so I really want to talk a bit about the confidence intervals because they change with certain groups. So it's 90.3 to 97.6%.
Wow, these things grow fast all of a sudden.
So efficacy is 95%. Firstly, can you remind people the difference between protecting from disease and protecting from transmitting disease? It remains a source.
I need to build
for many people.
Okay, so it really
a path
is
down to here.
the
Like I gotta do
primary
something about this.
endpoint upon which the 95% efficacy was determined was based on the prevention of clinically recognizable disease, not asymptomatic, not infection without symptomatic disease. The secondary endpoint was protection against severe disease requiring hospital intervention. It was also a secondary endpoint, though it wasn't clear whether we could reach it, but we're still looking at that. Does it protect against infection? So a typical scenario could be that someone is protected against infection, and certainly if against infection, against clinically
but not
recognizable
transmission.
disease. But there's also a likely scenario where someone is protected against clinically recognizable disease, but they still have replication competent virus in their nasopharynx. Hence, by definition, they are infected.
Yeah.
The question is,
Asymptomatic
we don't
carrier,
know
essentially,
yet.
even with the
Hopefully
vaccine.
data in a longer-term follow-up or subsequent trials will determine whether or not you have a significant inhibition of actual infection. The other thing that's even a little bit more complicated is that it is conceivable that you could be protected against clinically recognizable disease. You could, however, get infected, but the level of immune response that protected you from clinically recognizable disease would be enough to lower the titer of the virus in your nasopharynx such that you would not be infective. So you could
Titer
be
means
infected,
concentration, the
but
amount.
not have enough virus in your nasopharynx to transmit it. So we don't know the answer to those last two questions. A, does it protect against infection? And if you are
Oh my God, it's just a whole
does
mess
it
down here.
render the viral load so low
Can I get
that
this
you're
to
not
explode?
transmitting it to anyone.
Explode.
Tony, is there enough data from other vaccines over the course of many, many years to know if there often is a substantial difference between those percent of individuals who are protected versus disease versus those protected versus from infection? Because this goes to what would be the number needed to vaccinate in the U.S. to get to herd immunity. Do we know enough from other vaccines to make some projections?
Well, we know from influenza that the efficacy point in influenza is not measured by whether you get infected with influenza. It's measured by whether you sought medical care. So when you see an influenza vaccine that among people between the ages of 30 and 59, how effective it is, the number that you see is the number that protects them against getting infected to the point of requiring some medical attention, like going to the pharmacy and getting an anti-inflammatory and antipyretic. So many people who get protected from influenza don't necessarily get protected against infection.
Tony, there's many questions, but I wanted to ask specifically about two groups. The vote yesterday, I believe, for recommendation for approval to move ahead with the EUA was 17-4, and I think one abstained. And there were a couple questions about teenagers who are in the group of vaccinated individuals. The data for those who are 65 and older not at risk. Now the numbers get small, and the efficacy, the point efficacy, is above 90% for every group. But for those at greater than 65 and at risk, it was 91.7. But the confidence intervals were as low as 44%, as high as 99%. And if you look at teenagers, the numbers are small. So again, you have the same issue. Are you concerned about the elderly, and they make up 80 or 85% of the deaths? And are you worried about teenagers, the two ends of the age spectrum?
I wouldn't say I'm worried about them, but obviously when you get that demographic group with a much wider confidence interval, you're less confident. That's why they call them confidence intervals. You're less confident that point efficacy is there, or maybe a little bit less. But I wouldn't say I worry about it. I say I am always more concerned about responses in the elderly than I am in the young. So if the difference between, a lot of discussion yesterday by the VRBPAC was 18 years old versus 16 years old.
Right, I know.
I don't really worry about the difference between a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old, or between a 16-year-old and an 18-year-old. To me, there may be some significant physiological difference there, but it escapes me. I wouldn't say concerned, but I always worry about, whenever we do a vaccine trial, about getting a good degree of efficacy among the elderly. But the thing that was really, I wouldn't say surprising, Howard, but it was gratifying that when we looked at the data in the phase 1 study, we surprisingly found that the neutralizing antibody levels in the elderly was as good as it was in the younger group. We don't usually see that. So to see a 91% point efficacy in the elderly right now is not surprising. It would have been surprising, a year ago, before I saw the original phase 1 data, but now, it makes perfect sense to me. So I feel good about it.
Yeah, the issue about, the younger cohort is always interesting to me as a pediatrician. I always think, we always say children, but we should really say prepubertal and postpubertal. The 16, 17-year-old is much more like a 25-year-old and much less like a 5-year-old. Let's just continue with some of the vaccine questions that have already come in, Tony. Obviously the reports out of the UK around allergy, that wasn't discussed very much in the document, or even yesterday. It has not shown up in the United States in the Pfizer trial. And I didn't know if you have any sense about that, because I'm concerned that it can be used as a way to alarm people so that they will not get vaccinated. Do you have any sense about that?
Yeah, as you know, there were 2 cases in the implementation of virus of the vaccine study. I think people need to realize, and this is in some respects a good lesson for people to understand that safety considerations go well beyond the clinical trial. There's observation of potential adverse events, well into the implementation of the vaccine distribution. So if you look at the numbers of people in the clinical trial, there were 44,000 in the Pfizer trial.
Okay.
Once you push the button and start distributing vaccines, you're going to be giving it to millions of people. So there were two things that mitigated against knowing that maybe when people have a very strong diathesis towards allergic reactions, that you need to have a bit more precaution. You might want to make sure that those people get vaccinated in a facility that has the capability of quickly giving them some epinephrine or giving them whatever it requires to block an anaphylactic reaction. But the fact is, the clinical trial excluded people with severe allergic reactions. So there was no way in the clinical trial to know what the vaccine would do to people with that sort of diathesis. Now that we got this heads up, what you do is what you do with everything in clinical medicine. You stay alert for it, and you keep a situation so that if it happens again, that people are in a facility that can take care of them. I don't think it should mitigate against people getting vaccinated, because we don't know the extent. Is it people
Who do you think this whole
only have,
quarantine situation would
allergic
benefit? Like what
diathesis
group?
that requires them to walk around with an EpiPen?
I think there's
Maybe.
more than
I mean,
one
if
group that
somebody
would
has a
benefit. It would
very
probably
mild
be
allergic diathesis
the
with,
people that benefit the most from a
contact dermatitis.
quarantine.
I don't think that's going to be a situation. I think it's going to be people who've had
People that benefit
systemic
most from a quarantine, it's going to be
reactions to
people
allergic
that
stimuli.
have the ability to work from
Tony,
home
the
and
EUA
maintain
is
their
likely to
income.
be
So this would
approved over the
be
weekend for the Pfizer,
anyone that has the ability to work
product.
through a
Moderna's up next,
computer,
and then there's a
essentially,
number of
or
other
if they're
vaccines coming,
self-employed
and we'll
in
talk
some
about
way,
them
in
in
some
a second.
capacity where they're able to do their work at
the
home
numbers,
in an isolated
number
manner.
of doses that are available, both these vaccines require 2 doses.
For sure.
Um,
Yeah, gamers.
Changing.
I mean,
I think there's
literally,
broad
like no,
agreement
like
that healthcare
like
workers
gamers and
nursing home
streamers have been
individuals
seeing
who
a
reside
huge
in
boost,
nursing
like
homes
Twitch
and individuals
streamers,
who take care of those
YouTubers,
individuals will be first up.
and then
That's
just anyone who
20,
works,
25
like even like
million.
software, like or coders, like
but
programming,
vaccine
like
production
boom,
is,
easy. You can
is
do that.
fragile,
You can do that from home.
Supply to manufacturing to distribution.
Benefit as
what,
an advantageous.
What do you think the numbers will look like?
I would still say people that work at
capacity
like
to
software
vaccinate
companies
based
or
upon
companies that are
Pfizer
really good at
and
remote,
Moderna
like deal with
only. We'll
remote
get to the other
situation stuff, because they are only seeing
for
they're
the
only going to
rest
see a
of this
continued
year, perhaps
increase
January and February.
in
I
their
think going beyond February gets a little fragile.
their
Do you
profits
have a
from
sense of
people
what
now
you think
relying
will
on their
be available
products.
for December,
So they're going
January,
to see a
February?
boost in the long run,
Well, Howard,
right?
as you said, the numbers
as
do
in
seem to
they're going to be
change a bit.
advantaged in the long run.
Not dramatically, but
gamers, yeah,
enough
but
that
realistically,
whenever
if
you
we're
hear
being
two health
honest here and we're being
officials give
real about
numbers,
it,
they're not
the people
always
that are going to,
exactly
the people
the
that
same
benefited
numbers.
from this
But
quarantine
from the many
were the people that were
meetings
already
I've been on,
wealthy,
and I've been on almost
because
all of
all
them,
that they did
we were
was
talking about a total of about 100 million each from Pfizer
capitalize,
and
like
Moderna,
now.
where they
Okay,
would
now
have
I'm going to be a
40
little
million
bit
between the both of them in December, and then again
general here, I
50
suppose.
million between the both of them.
But
in
wealthy
January,
people
and then
typically
maybe
have
50 to
really
60 between the
intelligent
both of
financial
them in
advisors,
February,
and
which
they have a
should
lot
bring you
of
up
their
to about
wealth
100
tied up in
each.
stock
What we
and
hope-
things
we
like
hope
that, and
is that, A,
investments
that does
that they were
occur,
able to sort of
the
capital.
supply
Like a lot of
chain
people were probably able to
continues.
capitalize pretty hard on
Number
the
two,
stock crash and then the
we hope
resurgence
that
of
by
it,
the time we get to February,
which sort of
March,
accumulated more
we will
wealth.
start to see J
for
and
those
J
people.
or Janssen kick in.
That's true. Yeah, and those
they're
they
well
benefit
into
from
their
things
trial
in
now.
general. But like I think
Hopefully they'll get
particularly
similar types
we're
of
seeing
results that Moderna and Pfizer did.
an
So
increase
what I
in
was
like the
hoping
division
that you'd
of
have almost
the wealth gap is
transition
probably
of
expected.
Pfizer Moderna into December, January,
Who else
February, early
benefited?
March, and then J&J coming in March, April, May, and then ultimately Novavax after that, and AstraZeneca. Don't forget, they're in the mix too. So we have a lot of companies that are in the mix. I hope that there will be continuity of seeing the numbers of doses going up as opposed to up plateau and then coming back down and then going back up.
I got plenty of sugar
I
cane.
hope the
I don't even know why
websites
I'm
that
harvesting
count
that
all
anymore.
of the cases and hospitalizations and death begin to count the number of people who've been vaccinated. That'd be the nicest graph for me to look at if it keeps going up.
That's an inflection curve we'd like to see.
Tony, a lot of questions about 500,000 patients are diagnosed with cancer each year. And quite a few patients are diagnosed with diseases that require immunosuppression or are on immunosuppressant drugs. Vaccinations for those individuals.
It's going to be very important to vaccinate them. What we don't know, since they were not in the clinical trial, as to what the level of protection.
I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that would clearly benefit aside from the already wealthy and the individuals who are working in industries that are going to benefit from this sort of new norm of working from home, which, by the way, I don't think it's going to stop, right? Like, I imagine like a lot of people are recognizing that they can just work from home, and they might just continue to do so because it's safer, it's easier, and there's no downside necessarily. So like companies who create online platforms, definitely. People who can work through those online platforms, definitely. But, you know, like manual laborers and like people that have to work in person struggled. Typically people in the
workers first. Actually, one of my
retail sector suffered big time when you're doing like
told he could get vaccinated next
restaurants really suffered. Like so the thing that got hit the hardest
workers and the elderly, when do you are think they'll begin to have options around being
basically
vaccinated?
Like imagine all the places that are like massage parlors, physical therapy places,
I wanna change the conversation
martial arts academies. All of these things are still closed. Like still, like they can't even open. The jiu-jitsu gym that I frequented, the owners of that gym, they moved to Nashville. They're like, we can't sustain this. This doesn't make any sense. So they moved.
What's that been like, Tony?
Pharmaceutical industry workers, sure.
Well, it's been a very interesting journey.
Yeah, I mean, certain pharmaceutical industries, right? Just the ones that are working on something related to COVID. I mean, the rest of them are just sort of
the diseases that have emerged.
Still the same.
They've been of national and global significance. That happens to be the discipline I'm in. I also happen to be in a position as director of this institute that we play a major role in the government's response.
Am I gonna have to find a new one?
So I've had the opportunity that very few people have of actually.
Well, I mean, when things open up again, but
to be 7 presidents, it's an interesting experience.
The gym that I did, but they I think they kept that gym open. I think it's under new ownership. They like. I asked them. I sent them a message recently, and I was like, hey.
But more important.
Sorry that I didn't realize they had left, and then I was like, I'm gonna miss training with you, and they're like, it's still open, and I was like, oh, who's the new owner? So I'm waiting to hear back.
Presidency, when it comes to health and medical issues, is very often dictated by events and happenings outside of the power of the president, him or herself. In other words, Ronald Reagan had no idea that HIV would have an impact on his legacy, on his presidency. George H.W. Bush did, and that's why he was one of the first to try and say, you know, we really need to do something about this. You know, Clinton continued it. George W. Bush had no idea that in the first year of his presidency, we would have 9/11, followed by the anthrax attacks, which would trigger us to develop a major medical effort against bioterrorism, which really transformed into an effort.
You know who it's actually really benefited?
Diseases. So our really core
from this is like actually maybe it's kind of a mixed bag. It's like day traders.
George W. Bush's.
Like I bet some of them did really, really badly, but I think a lot of them might have done really well. Ooh, there's some nice courts over there.
He never in his wildest dreams would have thought that was going to be dominating in
but
his
I think
presidency.
There was a lot of money that was made
would one have predicted
by people pulling out of the stock market and then going back in at the bottom of the crash in March.
Would have developed the PEPFAR program, which in the history of all presidents probably has saved more lives than anything in the field of health that any president has done. And then President Obama, he comes in and you have Zika, Ebola, and pandemic flu. 1, 2, 3. So that's what I mean by an interesting journey. You know, I had written about my experience with 5 presidents, and when I got to Trump, I had a slide that said, "What next?" You know, in the lecture that I think you know, I says, "What's next? We don't know." I mean, who would have predicted that a pandemic of historic proportions like we haven't seen in 102 years would totally dominate the last year of a presidential administration?
Have I
So
seen the
answer
article
to
where they
your
had
question
monkeys
is
throw
it's been
darts
really
at
quite a
newspapers
journey
and the people would buy the
through
stock
these
of what the
6
dart
and
landed
soon to
on?
be 7 presidents.
And there wasn't a significant difference in performance?
Tony, so that brings us to
I haven't
January,
seen that.
February, March. You'll have two.
But no, it's
co-leaders
that is true though. That is true that
around
people
the
that
COVID-19,
like quote unquote
Biden
professional
administration
stock
response.
brokers
Vivek Murthy has
don't
been
do too much better than the market.
appointed Rochelle Walensky, who I've
on
actually
average.
had on
However,
the show numerous times.
I think with something like a
has been
pandemic,
appointed,
I think people
to,
had
lead the Centers
could have
for
had
Disease
inside
Control
information
and Prevention.
could have thought
I
about
think
like
the
the
three of you
possibility
have,
of
been
a
asked
you know
to
a stock
lead
market
the,
crash.
Biden response.
So I think there it was more than
How do
random
you see
chance
that
there.
playing out,
But yes,
from
I do agree with you. On
January
average, like day
21st
trading
to
is not something to
22nd
get
on
involved
February,
with
March.
because
I'm
it's
assuming
not.
the
It's
three of you were
basically
beginning to strategize about that.
I don't know. It's like
Well, the actual leader, Howard, is
it's
Jeff
basically
Zients. Jeff is the one who is
the
really
like the rich person
overall
equivalent of
coordinator the
gambling,
response.
right?
So my role as the chief medical advisor
With the
and,
day trading stuff.
Vivek's
Now, like,
role
just
as
general
Surgeon
investing?
General and
No,
Rochelle's,
that's, like, reasonable, but-
role as CDC director will be coordinated under Jeff, and I think this is going to be a really good.
Do I think America should have billionaires or not?
Fortunately, I've had the opportunity to work.
That's a hard
for,
question to answer.
With
Depends
as
on
a
why they're a
colleague,
billionaire.
Vivek, when he was the Surgeon General under Obama.
Like without
So
much
we've
more
worked
information,
together
I'm
a lot,
inclined to say,
already.
yeah,
We
we
know
probably
each other
should.
well.
I'm not one of those
Rochelle is
people
a
that is like,
very
I just
close
anyone who's rich
colleague
is
and
bad
friend
by default.
who we've had the opportunity
I think
of collaborating with.
I think
from the
there is something to
standpoint
be
of
said about people that
policy
make that
with
have that much
NIAID.
money.
She's
Like they
called
in
upon
order
very
to
often,
have that amount of money,
in advisory
usually, not
committees.
always, but
So I'm
usually,
looking forward to this.
they've had
This,
to
I
do
think, could
something
turn out to
that
be,
provides a lot of benefit for a
an
lot of other
important
people.
partnership,
Right?
but
You don't just
also
make
a
that
very
money
productive
completely on your own.
Tony, last question. There are
Now,
many
I don't
more,
really
but
know
I
that
feel
much
like,
because
I know
I
you
don't-
have other things to do.
I don't travel in those billionaire circles.
You know, I was
so
listening
don't really
to
have,
a few
I'm
physicians
kind of
being
mostly
interviewed,
talking
and
from like
you know,
educational
they were talking
guesses.
about their own family members or their own.
Zenda, if you link
vaccine
something,
hesitancy.
unfortunately, YouTube chat doesn't allow
And
links.
they said,
and I don't
well, I
know
wanna
why. I
hear
don't know
what
if that's
Dr.
just
Fauci will
something
Will
that I
he
haven't
be
figured out how to
vaccinated?
change the settings
Will he
on, or if
recommend
that's
the
just a general
vaccine for
YouTube thing.
himself? Would he be vaccinated?
Gotta go up and get that.
And would he recommend the vaccination, the vaccine, the immunization for himself, his wife, his children? And I asked you before we came on if you minded that personal question, and you indicated you would be comfortable with it. Could you respond to the medical community and the public at large?
Of course he's going
about
to say
how
yes.
you
Why would he say
yourself
no?
Will consider the
Imagine if he said
vaccine?
no.
Yeah.
Imagine if Fauci said no.
Well, I'd be happy to do that, Howard. Having looked at the process by where this vaccine and how this vaccine was tested, the evaluation of the data by the Data and Safety Monitoring Board, the intense scrutiny given to the data by both the career FDA scientists and the VRBPAC Advisory Committee, and knowing what I know personally, having gone over the data, definitely I will get vaccinated, and I will get vaccinated publicly in order to show that, in fact, I am willing to get vaccinated. And I would recommend it to my wife and my 3 daughters that they get vaccinated when their time comes.
Thank you. I don't think there could be a stronger endorsement by a single individual in this country than hearing you be so clear in stating that. Tony, you know, I always
Actually, I think
try
there
to
could be. I
finish
think
with
if
something
Trump said that,
personal.
it would be a stronger endorsement. Because if Trump said that he would do that,
It's your
then not only
birthday.
would it satisfy people that don't
In a
like
few
Trump,
weeks.
they'd be like, finally.
I
But the people
will
that do
not
like Trump
reveal
would
your
kind of have
age.
to admit,
People are
like,
welcome
okay,
to
if
look
he's
it
doing
up
it.
themselves. It's in the
Because people
public
that
domain.
don't like Trump
when I was
already
bar
don't like
mitzvahed, the
Fauci.
one
So
thing the
it's not
rabbi
like
said
by
is,
Fauci saying that he's not
well,
convincing
you may be pretty
that segment.
smart, but you can't sing. So I will not sing "Happy Birthday" to you.
How do I get down here
But
without
from
dying?
everyone at JAMA and the entire medical community and the public, I wish you happy birthday, Tony.
Zenda, what's the link called? We'll watch it. I'm curious, actually. Because you can't send the link. Should I just type like this is over, so I'll just type in monkey newspaper stock market. Oh, it's not a video, it's an article. Okay, never mind. That's true, Ahana. I agree with you. He probably wouldn't. It's it basically like what Zenda's saying, Lunabird. It's more complicated than that, but essentially, when a company goes public, so if a company's private, you cannot invest in them unless you are given like privileged access to be an early investor in the company. So for example, let's say there's a company that is just starting up and it's like, ooh, this is like, they got really good ideas. People will, these are called, I'm just forgetting the term. What is the term? The term for people who invest in companies really early on before they're public. Angel investors, no. An angel investor is somebody who gives a large sum at the very beginning to help a company like progress forward. But there's another term that I'm thinking of. There's another term. It's an angel investor is like usually just like an individual, but I'm talking about like a career or like an organization could be this. They could go around buying, like investing in companies. Man, I can't think of the term. Venture capitalist. Thank you, Zenda. So like unless you're a venture capitalist that has like a lot of capital that you can invest in companies early on, as in like a regular individual, you usually don't have access to investing in those companies that are private or just starting up. But once a company is like relatively established, they can go public, where they make their company available to the public to be bought, and they put out what are called stocks, which are these like pieces of the company, and you can buy them, and then they're traded, right? Like, oh, I have like 10 units of Tesla. That has a monetary value depending on what other people are willing to pay for that particular stock, and the price of an individual stock goes up and down depending on a lot of factors, but mostly based on what other people believe that stock is worth because of the company's projected profits or projected value. And so what people do when they trade stocks is they attempt to like leverage that and make prediction as to like, if I buy a stock for like $10 per share now, I think that in 6 months this is going to be worth like $20 or something like that. And it's a lot of gambling, to be honest, at a level of like that kind of thing. But in general, the stock market, if you invest in it and you diversify, like you buy like big what are called mutual funds that include many stocks from many different companies. So like you can buy like a mutual fund that tracks what's called the S&P 500, when the S&P 500 stands for Standard & Poor's 500 top companies. So these are like the 500 sort of blue chip companies, like like Apple, Facebook, Google. Those are like the top. Those are like real blue chip. But it includes like 500 of the most valuable companies. So those typically just on average tend to get gain in value over time, and it's not really a gamble when you what they call diversify, where you buy more, like many stocks from many different companies, so that if one company does bad, it doesn't really hurt you because it's spread out and other companies do well, and it can kind of balance themselves out. Where people really get mistaken is they go, oh, I'm going to put like my entire savings, I'm going to put like $50,000 and just buy $50,000 worth of like Tesla, right? So now that's really risky, because if Tesla goes down, you lose all that money. So the safe way to play the stock market, or not play, but like literally invest in the stock market, is to be more safe. Basically, diversify your money into a variety of different stocks. And if you look at like the history of something like the stock market, like the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones Industrial, they tend to gain on average around 5 to 7% per year. And so you can kind of grow your money that way at more of a basic investment. Now, of course, it can vary, but usually people that are investing in the stock market are not looking for short-term returns. They're looking for, decades long of investment. And so over time, that can be useful. But of course, then you have something like COVID, where you have the stock market take a 30% dip in literally within, 3 weeks? Like the worst crash since the Great Depression. And that's when people really panic, especially people who are close to retirement. So imagine that you've been investing in the stock market, you've been putting all of your retirement money. So a lot of people rely on their retirement money from their stock investments. So as they work, there's something called a 401k, which is a retirement program that usually your employer helps you fund. So every year, the most you can put into a 401k per year is about $20,000 per year. So let's say, and oftentimes your employer will match that. They'll match it at a certain percent. Say, okay, we'll put in for however much, you put in up to $10,000, we'll match it or something. So you can get basically free money from your employer. But every year you put in let's say you're doing well and you're able to max out your 401k every year, right? And you start when you're young. This is why the number one advice you can get, financial advice, is first, number one financial advice is get a job, have a stable job that provides some income. But once you have a decent amount of income, that you're able to sustain yourself and pay for your basic, you can get everything you need. You can pay for rent, food, utilities, your basic essentials. Then what you should do is you should, hopefully if your employer has a 401k program that will match your investment, you take them up on that. And you do this as soon as you possibly can. As soon as you possibly can. Meaning if you can do this when you're 18, start doing it. I made the mistake of not even knowing about any of this stuff till I was, in my late 20s. And so I missed probably about 5 to 8 years of investment during what was arguably one of the best times for the stock market between 2011 and 15, 16, where the stock market gained crazy, 15 to 20% per year. And so looking back, I lost out on a lot because I wasn't even aware of how to do that. I didn't have anyone, no one told me about what to do, Now, of course, this is speaking from a privileged point of view to an extent. The fact that you even have money to invest in the stock market presupposes some level of privilege, obviously, because some people just struggle to, pay rent and utilities, unfortunately. But yeah, so that's what you want to do really, is just start investing. Unfortunately, savings accounts aren't that great. They offer at their peak when the economy was doing really well, high yields money market savings account were offering a 2% return, whereas stock market on average can give you 5 to 7 pretty reliably. But 2% is still not bad, and it's way, way safer, right? So a lot of people might choose that, but now you're getting I don't even know what the interest rates are. The interest rates are probably 0.6%. Oh, shoot, 0.6% right now. Oh, thank God I have feather falling. Ooh, these need to be repaired. So yeah, I would say, yeah. And then without getting into the details of stocks, Zenda mentioned dividends. So companies will pay out a certain amount of money per quarter to the owners of shares, depending on how well the company does. So a lot of companies that are doing really well, they promise a certain dividend. So if you own a certain number of stocks, however many stocks you own, every quarter you get a little chunk of change based off of the stocks you own as sort of a reward for owning stocks and a reward for the company doing well, which is a nice little extra bonus. So, but in general, the rule of thumb is as soon as you possibly can, you start putting money into a 401k retirement fund. And so the idea is that by the time you're, 60, 65, whatever, whenever you plan to retire, maybe if you're lucky, 50, 55, if you've done well for yourself, by the time you've retired, that money has grown with compound interest over decades. And so you can, I need to pay attention. Talking about stocks, I'm about to die. This feather falling has been huge savior. Yeah, it's basically like a savings account. It's basically like a savings account, except you can't access it. So the one thing to consider with stock, with a 401k, a 401k is your retirement fund. There's some benefits to it. First of all, one is with a 401k, the money that you put into a 401k on a yearly basis is tax-free. So you don't have to pay taxes on that. And a lot of people like that because it lowers their income tax for the year. So imagine that you make, let's just give a number. Let's say you make, $100,000 a year. Let's say you're doing decent and you're making $100,000 a year. Well, decent for the Bay Area, but actually that's not even that great for the Bay Area. That's slightly below average probably. But let's say you're making 100K and you decide you're going to max out your 401k because, you're lucky, you're doing all right. And you put in 20,000 into a 401k. Now, as far as the IRS is concerned, your income for that year was 80,000. So you only get income tax based off 80,000 rather than 100,000. So you pay less taxes. Now, the downside is that when you take that money out later in retirement, you have to pay tax on it then. So you don't escape. This is why if you ever heard the phrase, the only things in life that are unavoidable or something like that are death and taxes, something like that. Meaning you can't escape taxes regardless of what you do. The government will always get their piece. But yeah, so most people put money in 401k and then they hope by the time that they retire, they've got a nice little, what they call a nest egg, a chunk of money in the market that they then can take out periodically. Every month they'll take out some to support themselves so they don't have to work. Yeah, and that's the goal. Now, imagine, let me paint this scenario. Imagine that you're 60 years old and you're planning on retiring let's make it even more dark. Imagine that let's say you're 64 and you're planning on retiring at 65. And you have all your retirement in the stock market. And it's beginning of March 2020. And you've got, because you've been investing wisely, let's say you've got $2 million in the stock market because of compounding interest. And then boom, the stock market goes down 30% and you just lost 30% of $2 million. Right? So people panic. And they start selling. They start dumping all their stock. Right? And it makes it worse. And you get these weird panic waves where people, especially close to retirement, get nervous. But what they say is what you should do is that as you get closer to retirement, you should take your money from the stock market and start slowly putting it, take it out of stocks and slowly put it into more safe options like bonds, which are government notes that are more reliable and are guaranteed money. So there's ways to mitigate it. But yeah, that's kind of a real crash course on stock investing. But then you got the dudes like the Wolf of Wall Street characters who just start going on a craziness. They'll just start betting on stocks on a day-to-day thing, trying to make cash and money and get crazy. So a pension is a retirement program, but the difference between a pension and a 401k is that a pension is paid. A pension A pension is something that you pay into. That's a private fund that's managed by a company. So for example, because I'm a teacher, there's a teacher's pension. So I actually will not collect. I don't pay any Social Security. You guys, I'm actually going to get lost. I'm not paying attention. And I haven't been marking my way. This isn't good. So for example, I'm a teacher, so I don't get paid. I won't get paid Social Security when I retire because I have a pension which takes the place of Social. I have a public pension, which is for teachers. So that gets replaced, my Social Security. But it's still pretty good. It's probably better than it's definitely better than Social Security. Let's go up here. I think I fell here. Like, I fell pretty far here. Zenda, how did you learn so much about stock markets? How'd you learn so much about finances? That's pretty good for someone your age to have that kind of knowledge. I wish I was that savvy when I was your age. It would have saved me a lot. I would have been sitting a lot more pretty now financially than I currently am. I'm fine, but like, there's, you know, you look back and you go, oh, I wish I had known that. I wish I had known that. So yeah, like my advice just financially is always like, as soon as you can, start putting money into a retirement investment account, 401k of some kind, or if you have there's other things like Roth IRA. These are different retirement investments that you can look into. That's good. Yeah, the earlier you learn about some of that stuff, the better. Those kind of retirement things are like really important to understand. And the real issue with them is that the sooner you start them, the better off you are. Just due to the fact of compounding interest, where like those first few years are like really, really important in the long run. Okay, guys, did I fall down there, right? I see some, it's got to be over here. Is it possible to hit an Enderman with a bow? It always seems like they just fade out before. Oh man, where'd that go? That just disappeared, that guy? Hey, why can you see water but not air? That's a really good question. It has to, probably my guess is that one reason might be, again, I'm not a physics specialist, but so I'm going with like what I call science bro logic based off of my general science understanding and the basic. Oh, there's the Enderman. When you're in water, I think our eyes, like, I guess I wonder if you asked a fish might ask the same question, like, why can you see air and not water, right? So the question is, maybe it's because we're in the air and our eyes have evolved and adapted to experience, to sort of, the air doesn't really affect our vision, so we can't necessarily see it because we are in it, and it wouldn't make sense. But like Patrick said, it probably has something to do with refraction of light as well. So water will bend light slightly when it enters, and that makes it obvious that there's something there because the light is bending, and so what we see is this weird bend. Yeah. So, in the end, I think it's a lot to do with the way we evolved, right? So it would be curious to see, like, so let's put it this way, like when you're underwater, well, here's the other thing is actually, like, also, Ahana, you can see air sometimes, right? You can see air sometimes, right? If it's hot enough, you can see like the shimmering in the air, or if there's a certain concentration of gases in the air, you can see it, right? So it's not true that you can't see any air. I'm actually just going to start hacking away into the side of this because this is probably just an easier way to look for quartz now that I have like a super efficient pickaxe. I feel like I'm not really being that efficient with my experience gaining right now. What should I do? Maybe I'll just mine. I feel like when I just mine for diamonds, like I actually gain more experience that way faster than this. Or maybe I should go to a nether fortress and find one of those monster boxes, monster spawners. You also gain experience from coal, Zenda. You gain experience from finding coal too. Yeah, like I'm not finding anything in here, and I'm just like maxing my inventory out with netherrock. I'm gonna dump these. Well, I should probably think about calling it anyway. It's getting a little late. What's something about investments you wish you knew earlier other than what we talked about? That's like the biggest thing. Is I wish I'd known to start as early as you possibly can, putting money into some sort of retirement account. Like even if you have just barely, even if you can only do like $100 a month. Yeah, you can take it.
In 15 minutes, can you turn the boiler off?
Yeah, I got it. Even if it's just like $100 a month. What else? Investments. Well, see, the thing is, I'm not the best person to give advice on investing because I'm relatively simple finances. I don't have too much craziness going on. So your retirement account is your savings. Like, what did you think savings was? Like, how it, like, so, like, according to what you thought right there, don't you just live off your savings when you're older? What do you mean by savings? Like, how would you define savings in that context or in the way that you were imagining it? Like a savings account, like a bank account? Okay, yeah. Well, so here's the problem. Here's the reason why you don't want to just do that, because the interest in a savings account in a bank is bad. It's pretty garbage. Like a savings account interest, like right now, is actually historically bad. Like it's like 0.6%. Yeah, it like inflation will outpace the interest you gain on your savings account. So your money might actually be worth less in 50 years if you leave it in a savings account due to inflation. It depends on the interest of the savings account, but let's say it's really, really good and it's 2%. That's just keeping pace with average inflation rates, which is usually about 2%. If you don't know what inflation is basically the general, I don't know what the best way to put it is, like the general decrease in the value of money. Something like that. No, I mean, it's not value, but like, I don't know, something. It's like money over time, inflation makes money sort of lose its value a little bit. So for example, people always say like 20, like, you know, it's the reason why like nowadays, if you want to buy a cup of coffee, it's like, I don't know, maybe coffee is not the best thing to think about. Like, I don't know, like pick any item, like pick something simple. I don't know. Like, let's say like something very simple, like, wow, I can't even think of something simple. I don't know, like a watch, right? Like a basic watch costs way more nowadays than it did 50 years ago. It's not necessarily because the watch is any better, right? It could be the same watch. It's just that money's not as valued. It doesn't have the same level. Decreased spending power. Yeah, it doesn't go as far to buy what you want. And so what you need to do is with your money should at least maintain its value over time. So like, here's an example. Like, imagine if you took all of the money that you earned and instead of putting it in a bank account, you just put it under your bed, right? Right. So that by the end of, 50 years, that money is actually going to be worth less. The amount of money, but it would be only the money you earned first would be worth less later, right? So you would hope that your job would increase your pay over time and that you were getting paid in accordance with the inflation and the value of the money. But the money you earned when you were younger would basically lose value compared to when you're older. So you'd actually lose money in the long run if you just kept it all under a bed. But if you put it in the stock market, which has an average annual return, they say, of about 5 to 7%, not only are you keeping up with inflation, but you're also getting like an extra few percentage points of pure like gain that is increasing its value. And so you end up with more money at the end. So you put money in 401k and bank and live off the bank savings until you reach retirement, then live off 401k. Yeah, for the most part. So what you try and do, they typically tell you, like general knowledge is that you want to have about like 6 months worth of expenses in your bank account. The problem with a 401k is you do not have access to the money. If you take money out of your 401k before the retirement age, which I believe is like 60 something, I'm not sure what it is for 401k. It might be like 62, or it might be lower now. I don't know how it works, but there's a certain age at which you can start extracting your money from your 401k account. If you take it out before that, not only do you pay immediate taxes on it, but I believe you also pay it's like a 10% fine or fee on top of it, right? So it's basically, once you put money in your 401k, that money is as good as gone as far as you're concerned. It's not gone, but it's like you should treat it as if it's gone until you retire. So what you should have is like at least a decent, like they say 6 months worth of savings, like worth of money in your bank account, so that if you lost your job or something happened, you could live, while you find another job off your savings. Because if it's in the bank, you have complete access. They call it's liquid, like you can pull it out and use it immediately. Whereas a 401k, they say, is not liquid, it's illiquid. Actually, I don't know what the opposite term of liquid is. Zenda, you're the resident financial advisor right now. What's the opposite? If you have money in like a 401k, it's not liquid, it's what? They don't call it solid. So yeah, basically as you work, what you do is your first priority. So here's the way you can sort of think about your priorities, right? So if you're making money, let's say you have a full-time job, you're done with school. What you do is all the money that you make on a monthly basis from your paychecks. Fixed asset? Yeah, fixed. That's probably the right term. Basically what you do with that money is the first thing you do is you pay your rent for food and utilities, right? Let's say you don't have children, because that's a whole nother game. Children take all your money. Let's say you don't have kids. Let's say you're being financially savvy and you decide not to have kids because you want to be financially prudent and you decide not to have any children. Financially, it's a bad decision, but there are other reasons why you might want to have children. But for sure, it shouldn't be financial. Unless you plan on living in a third world country where you're living off the land and you need children to like farm or something. In the United States, children are basically a money suck. Anyway, let's say you don't have kids. And what you should do first is basically take, after you've paid off your bill, off your rent, or let's say you're lucky enough to own a house, your mortgage, and you pay your utilities and your food and whatever else is essential. Maybe it's car payments or something like that. Then what you do is any excess money you have, you pay off any debts you have. So let's say you have credit card debt, pay those off first. Let's say you have student loans, pay those off, because debts have interest associated with them. So for every time, for the amount, like you're losing money to interest that you have to pay to these debts. So you want to pay your debts off as fast as you possibly can, right? So let's say you're chugging along, you're making money, you're paying your utilities, paying all your essentials, you're paying off your debts, but you have no extra money. So you're just keeping afloat. You're like, all right, I'm just keeping afloat. Let's say, you pay off some of your debts, you're good. Then you start saving in your bank account, in a savings account. And then when you get like a decent chunk in the savings account, you start investing the rest, any extra, into your 401k. Now, the one caveat is if you have a job where your employer has a 401k match, that actually takes priority pretty fast. Like that should be something you should capitalize on. So you should put however much you can, the maximum amount you can, into your 401k that your employer is willing to match. Right? So because that's free money. That's money your employer is giving you for free, basically. That's going into an interest gaining, well, not interest, it's stock market. So value gaining fund for your retirement. Right? So you do that, you get that match, you pay off your debts. And then if you have no debts and everything's good and you still have extra money, then you start, and you have enough in the bank, like a cushion in the bank, let's say like 5-6 months worth of living expenses. Then you start dumping as much as you possibly can into retirement accounts for later. It's like a nest, they call it a nest egg. You put it away, like a squirrel putting away nuts for the winter kind of thing. And then if you're a super baller and you're maxing out every possible retirement account, you're paying all your bills, you have no debts, and then you can consider having children. No, I'm kidding. Well, maybe, not really. Then after that, you can consider buying play stuff, like fun things. Now, of course, you can buy fun things before that, but like you shouldn't get too crazy. Like don't buy like a brand new car. Like, come on. Here's one other piece of advice, financial piece of advice. Don't buy a new car ever, unless you're a super baller and you have plenty of income to spare. Just don't do it. Buy a used car for like $5,000 or maybe $8,000. Do your research, make sure it's in good shape and like it's going to last. But like if you go out and buy like a $40,000 car, it's probably the worst financial decision you can make. You lose money immediately. Like as soon as you drive a new car off the lot, you lose like 20% of its value, like that. I get it. I know it's hard though. It's hard because it's hard when you first start working and you start making money and you realize like you're out of college and you're like, wow, I actually have my own money. I can like buy stuff. This is really cool. I made the same mistake. I bought a brand new Mazda 3 in 2013. But I got lucky in a really ironic way. I bought this Mazda 3 in 2013, and then in 2015, or when was it? No, 2018. 2018. 5 years later, I had paid it off completely. Yo, what's up, Quarp? Quarp? How do you pronounce your name? Q-Orp? I like it. Corp. What's up, Wolf? I'm gonna call it a night here actually pretty soon. Sorry, it's bad. My bedtime is 10, so I'm about to finish up. Quirp, nice. Quirp, I looked into the Skywars thing. Maybe next time I stream, I'll try it out. It looks pretty easy. It doesn't look hard to do at all. But anyway, just to finish my story, I bought a Mazda 3. It was probably like a $25,000 car. So nothing crazy. It was like a modest car, like good value, like for car, as far as cars go. It wasn't anything extravagant. It was nice looking and pretty decent in terms of its utility. But that cost me, you know, like $28,000 that I could have put into an investment account that could have ended up being worth, you know, like just, I don't know, you can do the math. You put it into a compounding interest account in the stock market that gains like 5 to 7%. Could have been worth, you know, maybe close to 50, maybe 40K, which would have been pretty sweet. Right? But, and like, how much could I really sell that Mazda 3 for after 5 years? Probably, if I'm lucky, 13 grand, 15 grand, if I'm lucky. But I got lucky because I got hit by a drunk driver, which is not something you would consider lucky. But basically, I got hit by a drunk driver, and it paid for my entire car through insurance. So now I would never recommend getting hit by somebody. But if you do, their insurance will pay you a lot of money so that you don't sue that person, or you don't claim like bodily injury, right? Like I could have been like, oh, you know, my neck, oh my God, my neck, I'm going to sue you, right? For like, you know, hundreds of thousands of medical bills. But what they did, which they were sneaky about, because they knew that was a risk, they sent me a check that had accidentally had the wrong car. So my car was a 2013 Mazda 3, and on the insurance statement, it was like, here is your reimbursement for your 2017, like, I don't even remember what it was, but it was like some SUV. And I was like, wait. And the value was like, because the Blue Book value on the car was like maybe 12 grand, 10 to 12 grand at most, maybe even less. And I was like, okay. And I was like, this is suspicious. I was like, I know what you're doing. So I have two options here. I can either say nothing, take the quote unquote wrong. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this actually on stream, because is this insurance fraud? No, it's not, because it wasn't. I didn't. Oh, sorry. I forgot to mention. I didn't recognize this until much later on. I didn't notice this until later on. So it was completely oblivious to me. Anyway, this happened much far. I didn't notice it. Okay, I didn't notice it till way later. But yeah, so I was like, all right, I could just take it, or I could be that kind of guy who's like, oh, I'm gonna sue you, like. But I was just ready to just kind of move on from that. So anyway, yes, sorry, that was a long-winded story. That basically all I was trying to say was, don't buy a car. Don't buy a new car. Just buy like the cheapest, most reliable used, like buy like a used, like I bought a used Honda Fit. So that's what I did with the insurance money. I was like, you know what? I'm done with new cars. I was much more financially sensible at that point. So I just bought a 2011 used Honda Fit. And called it good. So that's my recommendation. Or a bike, yeah. If you're lucky, if you live in a place where it has decent transport, which unfortunately pretty much nowhere in the United States has good public transport, you might not even need a car. Oh, I was like, what happened to the music? I was like, where's my occasional music? And then I realized I had turned the music off because of the concert. Yes, good idea. Eat food. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and finish up real quick, grab these last bits, and call it. I was hoping I could get to level 17 to get one more mending enchant, but don't think it's going to happen today. Bye, Aria. Have a great weekend. I will see you next week. Enjoy. And I hope you don't have too many finals to study for. Okay. Let's get out of here and call it. Where is the... Oh, no. I'm all turned around now. That wasn't the way I came. Have a great night, guys. Enjoy. Man, the problem is I'm lost now, though. Of course, right? Like, right as I'm like, all right, I want to end it, I'm like, I realize I'm lost. I gotta sort this out real quick. I can't. So, I didn't come. What's up here? This doesn't look right, actually. Y'all distract me when you start getting me talking about random stuff. Then I start losing. I start just jumping around. And end up in a place that I have no idea where I am. Bye, Ahana. Have a good one. Wait, did I come up that way? Did I come that way? What's over here? That does not look familiar. I know you know, that's a real bad move on my part, Wolf. I should have written down my my portal codes, but I never crossed my mind because I had always used to be really thorough with my this way. This also doesn't look right. Really thorough with my torches. That looks wrong. I wrote down the coords to my house, but I forgot to do it for the portal here. Okay. All right, we got to do a process of elimination here. So it's not that way. So, okay, no. I already looked over there, and it's a no. It might be up there. Can't be that way. And this way... Can't be, because it's too much of a gap to get across. Akash, is that true? And my portal is right next to my house. Wait, that's true? A block in the nether. Wait, what are my coords in my house, though? Shoot. Did I delete that notepad? Oh, no. I think I deleted... I think I made a mistake. I think I deleted the notepad that contained the coordinates. That's bad news. I might be screwed here. So if you don't know how to get back to your portal, what's the solution? You die, basically, and then you go find your goods as quick as you can. Wait, this might be right up here, actually. This could be right. I can make a new portal, and that will pop me back out. Shoot, I thought for sure this was it. I got really psyched for a second. Wait, there's a torch. I must have come this way. That's a torch. This is right, this is right. My vid went viral from 10 years ago? From 10 years ago? Which vid? 10 years ago? Yes, I know where we are now. We made it. We're good. It's right over here. This is familiar. This is all familiar. Whew. Are you talking about the video from the antibiotic resistance video lecture that someone posted on Reddit when I had streamed? I had pretended like I was playing Overwatch, and then I was like, oh, am I supposed to be teaching? And then I started doing the video lecture. Because that was an interesting day. But that video would not be on this channel, because that video was on my old channel. That was on a channel that I no longer use. So you wouldn't see the video with that views. It's the Ado one. Oh, that was something I posted. So that was something I wanted to post a while ago, just to use as a it was from a show called, what was the show called? Draw This or something like that. Drawn Together? Drawn Together or something like that. It was a show. It was a funny cartoon showy on, like, I don't know, Comedy Central or something like that, way back in the day. And there was a funny part of it, and I wanted to post it to send it to a friend. And this was back in, like, in the YouTube days where you would, like, upload a video to YouTube just to send it to somebody. And somehow it got a lot of clicks at some point. So yeah, just, yeah. Akash, that is a monster IQ. I'll do that next time if I remember. Okay. I got a good amount of quartz now. I cannot forget to repair. Oh wait, I'm gonna put the mending on my boots real quick. This helmet's almost shot though. Thanks. I spent a little bit of time working on this, just, you know, aesthetics. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's decent enough. Gets the job done. Oh, really? That only costs 5? So cheap. Put mending on what else? This one. How much does it cost to do the mending on this one? Oh, I only grabbed one. Actually, no, I'm not going to do the sword next. I'm going to do this next. That's only 5 too. Huh. What's a good thing to put mending on next? So I have it on my boots. I have it on my pickaxe, helm, leggings, chest, sword. I'd say sword or chest, just because these ones are the most expensive to repair. So probably chest because it's the most diamonds. Okay, I agree with you. Okay. Okay. Alrighty. That's it. That's it. That's it. Okay. All right, everybody. Well, it was nice seeing y'all. And I'll see you on the next time around. Do a little eat. And maybe a little sleep. And call it a night. All right, everybody. Peace. Have a good one. I will see you when I see you.